Hi, I'm Lanny, and this is the Preserving Today podcast, episode 4, I think. Today I want to talk about the different cultures that I keep in my kitchen. What do I mean by that? I'm talking about fermentation cultures. Sourdough starter, kombucha, kefir, what else? Let's find out. So I'm sorry in advance if it's a little noisy. I have the baby on the floor. I'm gonna get the oven going, the heater's on, the dishwasher is running, the washing machine's running. It's a productive morning. I'm not gonna apologize. I just did, didn't I? I just apologized.
I'm sorry in advance.
I'm not gonna let that stop me from recording this podcast because I'm finding out more and more as things continue to ever evolve and change. I'm having less and less time to spend on this channel, and that's fine. But I enjoy it and I like putting it out there, and there's a few people there that are watching all my videos and commenting and making me want to continue on, so thanks. Hello everyone. Yeah, I'm gonna bake some sourdough this morning. I'm gonna get my other Dutch oven. 2 loaves, always 2 loaves of sourdough. I never make one. I did one time, but I just made the same batch and I made a gigantic loaf. That was fun. These 2 are gonna go into the oven to preheat. I am gonna preheat it today. I've been messing with the cold start sourdough, which you can see the video that I did. Did I mention the dog? The dog's also loud, walking around. Now she's drinking. I'm gonna get these in the oven and then we'll talk. Yeah, so about half the time I've been trying to not preheat the oven and do it that way, and it's going pretty good. I like it, but it's hard to keep the bottom crust from being more done than the outside. And then it is a softer crust than when I preheat. And I like a crunchy crust. So I've just been going back and forth, doing it each way and just like tweaking little things, seeing what I can learn. So yeah, sourdough. Sourdough is a culture that I keep in my kitchen. Right now she's in the fridge. This is my sourdough starter. I've taken to keeping a really small amount when I'm not baking. So for maintenance feedings, I'm only doing 20 grams of water, 20 grams of flour, and 5 to 10 grams of sourdough starter from the previous batch, based on when I want it to rise or what I'm doing with it. So this was just 5 grams of sourdough starter because all I was gonna do is get it going a little and stick it in the fridge, which is what I did. And I should have a date on it. What am I doing? You know, I think it'll be fine because I'll just use it in a couple of days, and then all of a sudden I'll be like, oh, I should look back at my pictures to see when I did sourdough last time because I don't actually remember. And then it's like 6 weeks or something and poor thing needs resuscitated. There we go. That's when I fed it. So it's going in the fridge just to hang out because we don't eat that much bread. I'm also not baking other things with it very often, and I'm not making pancakes and all that. It's just too much effort right now with a little person and all the other things that I want to do. So that's that. So besides the sourdough starter, I also always keep a kombucha culture. And this is a June kombucha SCOBY made with honey and green tea. And I've talked about it in length in so many videos. You can watch my kombucha playlist, which I'll link in this video description as well. That's got tons of different things of how I do it, how I flavor it with herbs. There's tons of videos there. Kombucha is really great because it's like having a soda. You can make it bubbly. You can customize it to whatever flavor you want, but it's also like vinegary. And so drinking it like a vinegar tonic feels really good for my digestion, and it doesn't feel too sweet like when I do drink soda. It's got a really light caffeine, so while there is a little pick-me-up, it's not to where I'd be concerned of feeding a small amount to my kids. Not the baby, but the 4-year-old can have some for sure. It's pretty easy to control it so that it doesn't get too alcoholic, and that's just by not over fermenting it in the second ferment. Oh, the baby's in the dog water. Come on, mister. He thinks that's a swimming hole. We call it the swimming hole. It's the dog water. It's dog pond. He goes straight for it any chance he can. Yeah, so I have the kombucha culture. I've had moments of feeling like I regretted having it because it was too much. When I first did kombucha was probably 10 years ago, and I did regular kombucha with black tea and sugar, and I felt like it was too much for me. I didn't understand how to get a good rhythm with it. My kitchen didn't have a lot of space. I had one small refrigerator, and I was really afraid of it exploding, so there was a lot going on there. So eventually I got rid of that and stopped doing it for a long time. And now it's been probably 5 years that I've been back on it, maybe 4, with this green tea kombucha, which I like better. It's more subtle flavor, so whatever you're gonna flavor it with, is stands out more. And then I like the green tea aspect, antioxidants, whatever, blah, 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 science. It makes me feel good when I drink it. And really, when I'm doing a gallon at a time, I'm fermenting it about every 10 days, including then flavoring it and letting it sit for a second ferment. It's about every 12 days I'll have 7 to 8 bottles, depending on how much juice or whatever else I put in when I do the second ferment. 7 bottles in a 12-day period, that's almost 1 bottle every other day. That is totally not too much kombucha for our family, especially since all 3 of us, well, 4, my husband drinks it, but just not as often. He loves coffee, so he's drinking coffee for most of the day up till probably like 3 p.m. I have to remind him to drink some in the evening, and he loves it. But it's really worth it. It's worth keeping 1. And anytime I want to, I can bump that up to 2 jars, because every time you do a batch of kombucha, you get a second SCOBY. So then you can just toss that into a new jar with new honey, sweetened green tea, and start a second batch to keep going. Milk kefir, I've talked about so much. It was my first video that I ever made for this channel. Milk kefir is something I've been keeping for probably 5 years. I really enjoy it. It's the same grains. I've almost killed them. Well, I've not treated them nicely and almost killed them once. You can see one of my more recent videos on how I revived those kefir grains that I almost killed by leaving them in the fridge for like 4 months. I think it was 4 months. Yeah. Wow. But now we're way back into this routine of just like making milk kefir. I'm doing it in a half-gallon jar. We're doing it with raw milk. My kids are loving it. I'm flavoring it with jam and stuff that needs to be used up before we make new jam this summer when the berries are ripe. I do about a half-gallon in a 24-hour period, and then I'll stick it in the fridge in some fresh milk for a couple of days and then do that again. And what I'm finding to get us to use it up is that I then separate the half-gallon into 2 quart-sized jars and I flavor it. So I'll put some, like I have right now, I have blackberry jam that I flavored it with. And I did one as a banana, and that was really good. The kids like that. You want this one too? You have 2. Speaking of kombucha, he's using the lids from the bottles I use. There you go. Nice. Making a song. He's happy about it. So, kombucha, sourdough, milk kefir. Now, water kefir. You've never seen this channel talk about it before because it was my nemesis. I tried water kefir for a good year to 2 years, and I just never felt like I liked it. I never felt like I got in the swing. I always felt like it was mad at me, that it was fussy, that it wasn't getting the attention that it needed. And I honestly was just tired of it. So I threw my grains away. And about a month later, I was cleaning out the refrigerator and I found a mason jar with a regular flat and a band lid on tight in there. And it was the last of the water kefir that I hadn't flavored or anything. I just threw in the fridge. And when I opened it, it popped and it shot the lid out of my hand. And it was like, so, whoa, it's finally really carbonated. All I had to do is leave it in the fridge for a month. And then I smelled it, and the smell I smelled was like, oh, it was like alive. It was so exciting. I was like, why did I ever get rid of that? This is the coolest thing ever. I tasted it. It was like the best drink I've ever had. Totally unflavored, just water kefir left to sit. So what I think I found is that I think water kefir is too sweet. If I'm fermenting it on the counter for 24 or 48 hours and then flavoring it and leaving it in a bottle for another 12 hours or so, it's too sweet. I don't know. Am I a glutton for punishment, as they say? I wanted to do water kefir again. After I had that magical moment with the kefir in the fridge, after I had already thrown my grains away, I actually went online and bought another packet of dehydrated kefir grains, water kefir grains from Cultures for Health. And I was going to start them right away because I was so excited, but then I didn't. I left them in the drawer, and I left them in the drawer for a long time, maybe a year or 2. And when I came to them, I realized I wanted to start kefir. I just did that. I got those out. It said I should best diffuse by a year ago, like March of 2024, and it's March of 25, right? So I was like, I'm going to do it anyway. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It's just sugar and water to get it started. So I did. And this is what those looked like. They're these dry little granule things. And I was like, okay, let's see what happens. They didn't really plump up after a few times. The first 3 batches I threw away. Then I started reading up on minerals and stuff. And that's why I didn't like water kefir. I felt like it was just too much. But it needs the balance of minerals, and it needs filtered water, and it needs citrus or... So I put a slice of lemon in there. I put a dried, oh, you got all the way under the oven, Mr. Buddy. Do you want this one? tried the lemon, and I tried a part of a fig and part of a dried apricot. Apricot? Tell me in the comments, what am I supposed to apricot? So those things really seem to bump it up and make it more excited. And then I was getting bubbles kind of on the surface and things were looking more active. But my grains, though, still looked like granulated sugar. They were not plumping up. They didn't look lively. And I felt like they were going right through the strainer while I was straining them. Meanwhile, researching facts about water kefir, I found this amazing website. I think it was called Yemoos, Y-E-M-O-O-S. I believe I'll link to their information on water kefir in the video description here. No affiliation to them, but I was so impressed by all the information that they had on their website about water kefir, milk kefir, kombucha, yogurt cultures. The huge frequently asked questions page about care for it, different ways to take care of it, different waters, different sugars, like on and on and on. So super impressive. I decided to buy water kefir grains from them. Not only did they offer them, they had all that great information, but it was an affordable price, and I was like, they sell live water kefir grains, so they're not dehydrated. I thought maybe I would try those. When I got those, I was shocked. They looked like what water kefir looks like when I see pictures online. I've never had water kefir grains look like that. Both the times I used the dehydrated cultures for health cultures, they never got big. They always just looked like turbano, is that what it's called? Turbinado sugar, the like granulated sugar that's kind of coarse. That's what the grains looked like. These were like gelatinous, like shapely little cute, translucent, like jelly little blob friends, and I was like immediately in love with them. So I'm just I'm almost to 48 hours of fermenting them in their first batch of liquid after transport, which I don't expect I'll be able to drink that, but I'm excited to see what happens. And then I'll start another batch, and in about 2 days I'll be able to flavor and bottle that and hopefully be able to drink that and tell you how it goes. So for cultures so far, where we are: sourdough, June kombucha, milk kefir, and now 2 kinds of water kefirs. Do I have anything else? I totally forgot to talk about these new yogurt cultures that I bought that I'm taking care of. 2 different kinds here, and this Bulgarian yogurt as well. I'll link to where I bought these in the description. One's from Amazon and I'm an affiliate, but the Bulgarian one I'm not, but it was the same thing. I found this website and it had a ton of really good information and people that sounded really passionate about their cultures, really good stories. So I bought some. I've never bought yogurt cultures before. I've always just gotten yogurt from the store and used that to start my yogurt, and then use some of my previous batch of yogurt to continue it until it gets slimy and stringy and isn't any good anymore, and then I get more yogurt from the store, which I think is a fine way to do it. But I wanted to try these very specific yogurt strains. The Bulgarian one for sure is an heirloom yogurt culture, so I should be able to keep it from my own yogurt indefinitely, which I'm going to freeze some of my yogurt and continue on. I made some yesterday and I feel like it's not very thick, and I think that's just because I'm using raw milk and I'm not pasteurizing it. I'm not boiling the milk before I do it because I want all of that goodness. But yeah, it's kind of watery. But it's still yogurt. Oh no, yeah, see, it's yogurt. I didn't strain it or anything. That's actually pretty decent. Not adding gelatin. They say you have to add gelatin to raw milk yogurt, and that's a bunch of hooey. This is good, and if I strained it, it would be way thicker, but I don't want to. I think this is just great. My kids will like it with a little jam or a little syrup and vanilla, and yeah, it'll be good. But yeah, I'm experimenting with that. That's pretty new too. I might make a video if I get passionate about any of that later on. But yeah, that's it. I don't keep a ginger bug because they're so easy to make. They just take a day or 2. So I'll start that in the summer and keep it for a little while and then get rid of it. I used to keep it and put it in the fridge when I needed it. Are you pecking me? Are you a chicken? Yeah, but I don't. I have all these other ferments going, you know, fermented asparagus, honey ferments. I'm starting this experiment with the Korean syrups, Cheong, I think Cheong, Cheong syrups. This one is a lemon one. It's really pretty. It's just fruit, and sugar layered in at the same weight. This one is orange. But these I'm thinking will be really handy when I want to flavor my kefir without putting much thought into it. And I mean my water kefir. So I can use just like a teaspoon or a tablespoon of this really concentrated lemon syrup in the bottom of a bottle and get things going that way. So yeah, I don't think it's too crazy. I don't have a ton of cultures, do I? Maybe it is a lot. I mean, okay, think of it. Sourdough starter needs fed every 12 to 24 hours unless you're keeping it in the fridge. Milk kefir needs fed every 24 hours unless you're keeping it in the fridge. Water kefir needs fed and bottled every 48 hours. Kombucha needs bottled, fed every 10 days. But all of it has some forgiveness, you know? Like the water kefir, or the... Are you pooping? Are you pooping on TV? You know, it's not too much because you can take a break from everything. I've made a video on how I take a break from my kombucha. It's called the total neglect method. It's literally just leaving it alone. It turns into vinegar. You'll have a ton of scobies when you come back to it, but it's something that's pretty simple. Milk kefir, I've neglected in the refrigerator for a month, but better yet, change the milk out every week or two, and it won't have to be resuscitated the way I did in my other video. Taking a break from sourdough is just chucking it in the fridge, and I leave that for a week or two without feeding it. I've also made a video on how I leave my sourdough starter on the counter and I don't feed it every day, and I'm still able to bring it back. Water kefir, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how I'm going to manage that when it's not in use. So that website I mentioned before where I bought my new grains, Yemoose, has a ton of information on how to store the grains in between. And it also came with a really cute little adoption paperwork for when I got my cultures, which was great. Because they're like little living things with a history and a story and a personality, and it's so cool to be a part of that and be a caretaker of these different living things. You know, the ones that I make and the ones that I buy and the ones that are given to me. So I don't know, that's it for today. Do you keep cultures? Do you just do wild fermentation? Have you never tried any of it? Let me know in the comments. I'm Lanny, and this was Preserving Today.